the reason I fail with them half the time is because that last conversation, I wanted to have made this before the call, and I didn't make it. So that's on me.
Yeah, I guess it comes down to like the prep work and having the forethought that we need to have these conversations, first of all, as early as possible with clients. This client came to us with some pretty absurd numbers, very similar to what you just saw on my screen there, and of on-platform metrics at least, and wanted to get more granular with attribution, figuring out where these sales are actually coming from. Didn't trust Meta's attribution, which is kind of part of the puzzle that we need to instill in clients to begin with. So we had a leg up on the conversation, but we didn't necessarily capitalize on it from day one. We kind of came to the client and he downloaded HighRose, or he got a subscription to HighRose right when he joined with Solutions 8. So we started looking at HighRose instead of having a conversation of MER and global metrics from the very beginning, which in hindsight really set us back, because HighRose, as we know, is not going to be 100% perfect with its attribution. Same with Northbeam, same with Triple Whale. Any of the third parties are not going to be, we know that they're not 100% accurate, and they're pretty off, to be honest, after working on a few different clients that have multiple platforms. So yeah, that's a conversation that we should have had with this client from day one. And I think that's kind of what I wanted to highlight with this, is that it's easier to start off a new client with this conversation. It's going to be a little bit more difficult for existing clients that are already Google clients that we upsell Facebook to, because they're used to probably looking at in-app metrics. And then from there, we need to have that, again, difficult conversation of, hey guys, we're not trying to hide anything from you, but now that we're working on two platforms, we need to be looking at this holistically, even though that's a buzzword that everybody throws around now, and it can, give clients some bad feelings. But global metrics need to be the way that we're looking at this, or else you're going to get that Google ROAS versus Facebook ROAS. We're constantly battling against each other, and then we end up with one platform being lost because it's not underperforming compared to the other.
Mate, I've got to go in 5 minutes because I've got a client meeting. What did you want to go over on this? Is it just for massage tools in particular? Or just
No, not really. Basically just having the larger conversation of how do we approach these subjects with clients, and from a Google standpoint and a Meta standpoint of it can be a tough conversation to have with people. And it's just highlighted that pretty well, that this guy is very clearly focused on one platform or another. How do we convince him to look globally?
That's always going to be the issue, especially when you're running a brand awareness campaign like Facebook. And I think what we're going to have to do is lean into the MER conversation more, but pull some data from GA4 on organic results and organic brand and organic search results, and have a look at, okay, you're going to have to do some snapshots of before and after, and have a look at the traffic as well. And if the traffic and the conversions are moving in a same ratio, then you can start drawing a correlation. We're going to have to lean on these terms like correlation more often, and saying we see a correlation in traffic, we can see traffic's coming up, we can see revenues going up, we can see our traffic's being driven from this source, and as a result, whilst we're not driving traffic directly from Google, it's reaping the benefits from a branded conversion or branded attribution. So that's the only thing we're going to have to start doing, is getting other metrics, do some before and after snapshots, and then say we see correlation in traffic, we see correlation in revenue. That's
Nice.
we're just
I'm
going to have to
saying-
start mapping out this data and do some charts or bar charts or line charts or something.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I was thinking line charts too, and I was gonna say, Nick, we should just grab the last 2 years of sales data and ad spend data. We'll build a line chart of their media efficiency ratio, and then, as Glenn said, we can chart out that same ad spend and organic sales, and we should clearly be able to see, hey, look, when we increase spend here, we'll see that organic sales went up, because we know there's no way they're selling $10,000 massage tables just organically. There's no way. And so we just need to show it to them. And the reason I fail with them half the time is because that last conversation, I wanted to have made this before the call, and I didn't make it. So that's on me.
Yeah, I guess it comes down to like the prep work and having the forethought that we need to have these conversations, first of all, as early as possible with clients,
Mhm.
but also having the data to back it up.
Yeah, you got to make the case beforehand. So like no situation, it's not going to be a cookie cutter situation, but you can apply the same formula exactly what Glenn said is you will chart that media efficiency ratio out and try to show that when we increase our ad spend, there is a correlation there. And for him, what's going to be difficult and what he doesn't understand is he doesn't think there's any conversion lag. But
Mhm.
I don't know if you remember in Slack, I sent you a quick screenshot of when he had told Glenn to stop all the ads. And then, for a couple of weeks, things were good. And then all of a sudden, everything got bad. So we just need those pictures. We need to try to, the good thing is once you've been working with the client for a while, you can kind of understand what they're going to ask. And so we can go from there.
And you're
Yeah.
not saying just only MER. You're saying look at traffic increase when spend increase. Look at organic.
Yeah, you got to make a case. You got to go in, just go in every time expecting, like, I look at it like I'm a lawyer going to
Yeah.
trial or something. And I'm like, I'm ready for hell. And you got to have like one more point of proof.
Yeah.
And just, MER helps, but yeah, you got to be able to show it through that organic lift as well. And then try to say, oh, well, maybe there's conversion lag. And that's why when budget increased here, it didn't happen here. But when you have the charts in front of you, it does make it a little bit easier.
But yeah, I think it's really comes down to doing it as early as possible. Like with all of that data, if we have this conversation with them earlier the better. If we wait 2 months before doing this, then there's a red flag skepticism that comes up to the client, because inevitably it's going to start coming up when there's a bit of an issue or when the client's freaking out about something. And then we come back to them and say, oh yeah, but no, look at MER instead. Don't look at on-platform results, because that's where they're questioning. And then it looks like we're hiding something and that we're trying to steer their visual over here.
Yeah. And we're in a defensive position on our back heels at that point.
And that happens with like us, isn't it? I think this happens with us a lot, because the easy thing to do is, and like I do this myself, is it's so easy just to read the in-platform metrics when they're doing well.
Yeah.
But you need to get in the habit of not doing that and then try to talk about both. And then I always just say with both, it's like, yeah, Google Ads, like the metrics matter, but just within Google Ads. So, if I was at 200% and I'm at 400% within Google Ads, let's not take that at face value. Let's just know Google Ads performance improved here. And so that's how we can update things within Google to, make performance better or worse. But let's see how that impacted like the larger environment. And we can kind of look at all of that, because the argument should be, no matter what we're doing, if your bottom line is healthy and we're running all of your ad accounts, you should be happy. Whatever we're doing is working. And as John would always say, I will make your Google Ads account look so bad you want to fire me, but but if your bottom line is doing well, you're not going to want to do anything. Clients don't care about it if their business is in good health. And so don't make the account look so bad they want to fire you. But when we used to do specifically standard shopping, you would see that a lot.
Yeah. That's what we're seeing with Meta right now too. I've actually had a conversation with several clients in the last few weeks where I've said to them, if you want me to make this look beautiful and make your ROAS stand out and just show you the best picture on Facebook, I can easily do that. I could retarget all day long and
Yes.
you would never know the difference. And I could get you a 30 ROAS, but it's not going to help your business. And a month later, you're going to fire me because things aren't working.
That's exactly it. This is good. You're just stealing all my cards that I use too. Because then I use the same thing about brand where it's like, oh, I can give you 30, 15, 20. I can give you any ROAS you want in Google Ads. But guess what? Your bottom line isn't going to look good. You can say that's the distinction between what we're doing here is we're focused about your bottom line because we know that if your business is in bad health, you don't want us. And so I see the same thing, Nick, just for like not so much so late, but just like when I encounter Facebook agencies, actually, yeah, it's so late too. In-app ROAS looks horrible, but I know, like, I just know it's not possible for all this to be coming from Google. Like, I don't think Google genuinely gets all the cold traffic that I think Facebook is needed in a lot of cases. And so just looking at it both, just saying, hey, these two work together, and that's what matters, rather than looking at them in a silo. Like, you just give them that multiple touch points thing, and how I think 10, whenever I was in university, they said it was 7 touch points, and now it's like 97. I don't know. Now it's like 1 million.
Yeah. Now it's like at a crazy number of impressions. There's like a weird study I heard one time it was like a Google study, I think. And it was how many impressions does it take to buy various products, or for a customer to buy various products. And the two far ends of the spectrum was a $5 chocolate bar and a plane ticket. And the $5 chocolate bar took 20 impressions. The plane ticket took 500 impressions. So, and the majority of our clients are much closer to the airline ticket than they are a chocolate bar. So explaining that to them, that it's not as simple as show it once, make purchase.
And this is good too. Sorry, I know I came to this meeting late and now I'm just doing a bunch of talking, but now you got me excited about this concept you're talking about, because you're talking about impressions, right? And we know as we start showing ads it's more impressions. That means that cost is going to go up. So with that same argument, you can say, yeah, that's why your acquisition cost is lower for a lower value good, and you have a higher acquisition cost for a more luxury item. And so in knowing that, you need to hit this luxury item user with way more impressions, which means you have to spend way more money. And so what a lot of clients do is they're not spending enough money to even afford their customer acquisition cost. And so they do bad because it's a pay to play environment. And if your acquisition cost is $120 per customer, but you spend $30 a day, it's going to take 3 or 4 days to even afford a customer.
Yeah, and that's a great point. That's enough time for a client to freak out really quickly and say, this isn't working.
Change the ROAS, and you might panic, and you're like, well, what am I doing? But yeah,
when the problem could be resolved by the easy solution of spending more money.
Yeah,
when it's really not that easy.
A lot of times it is the thing I've been finding is I find the most common thing to do is look at it the last 30 days. If the client's freaking out with the last 7 days, just say, let's look at the last 30 days and know that sometimes this is what happened. He had one bad week and he wanted me to change everything. And I said, let's look at the last 30 days. And within the last 30 days, we were close to his goal still. And we just have to say, these ROAS goals almost always relate to your last 30 days. They don't do last 7 days. And so we have to make our decisions off of the last 30 days. So we can't just go and make these changes willy-nilly out of nothing. I don't know, Nick, how, like with Facebook, how does it work? Because I feel like with Facebook, I changed it more, but I also don't even know anything about Facebook anymore. So
I think it can, you can definitely make changes more frequently on Meta than with Google, but still that same situation applies with Meta. Let's say a client freaks out over one really poor week and then comes to you and says, you need to do something different, change this, this, and that. Mm-hmm. Now we are only compounding the issue that was there to start with that might not even been a significant issue. It could have been external factors that caused a really poor week. And now all we've done is make the account go back into optimization for week 2, week 3. And now we're totally on our heels. And now we've just got ourselves 3 bad weeks in a row where we could have probably just had 1.
Mm-hmm. So spend more money and never question us.
Yeah. don't ever ask.
That's what I did to all my clients.
But yeah, that's kind of everything that I wanted to talk about today. That's pretty much all my notes.
How can we do better? This isn't good enough. I need more leads. And I realized as I was helping answer it, I realized that those are like my favorite questions when they leave it nice and open-ended like that, because it's like, well, I'm so glad you asked. Thank you for caring. Actually, there are some things we can do.